morning, class. Let's take a look at chapter 2. I'm going to share my screen with you. I'm going to start in the Canvas website. I'm looking at week 2. As you can see, you have a number of assignments that are due. I'll end with quizzes, but let's start at the top here. We're going to complete 4 chapters in Microsoft Word. And so that's in my TLAB. If you click here, you'll be directed to go to mytlab.com. You'll log in and you will see this page right here. So I jumped to it. I already logged in, and you can see here that you have a training and assessment for chapters 1, 2, 3, and 4. All right, so what are you going to learn of those different trainings and then demonstrate your mastery of the skill and the assessments? You'll create a document. You'll add text. You'll navigate it. Find and replace text is very common. Select themes, configure backgrounds, work with styles. In chapter 2, you'll change text appearance, spacing, alignment, work with borders. Bullets and numbering are really good for summarizing information. Use boxes and pictures. In chapter 3, you'll create a table, which is very handy. Merge and split cells, work with formulas within those cells, edit source data. And then finally in chapter 4, you'll learn the different formatting, research papers, writing styles, do the bibliography, modify footnotes. These are all important things. Save as PDF, upload to OneDrive. So these are common things you're going to learn. So I'm in chapter 1 now. I launched it. And remember, in my TLab, you have trainings and assessments. Now, this is chapter 1. There's 13 tasks. If you go to view all, you'll see all the different things we talked about, creating a document. It's all right here. And if you get stuck with any of these tasks, now, in this example, my instructions are at the bottom. Yesterday or last week when I showed you in Windows 10, they're over to the side. So I must have a different aspect ratio on this screen right now. At any rate, if I'm stuck and I don't know how to open this document, I'm going to click on the learning aid and it's going to walk me through it. Then I'll click I'm done and I'll go back here and finish that. So it says open W01H1 cover located in the documents folder. So I'm going to go file and open, and I'm going to browse, and I'm now in documents, and it is this one right here, right? And once I finish it, show non-printable characters. So I'm going to click up here. If I didn't know, I would have clicked on the learning aids to do it, but this is how you do it, right? Click on the Insert tab, insert text, locate in the document folder. So now I'm going to add some text from the document folder, but you get the idea, right? When you're done, right, you're going to go through these 13 tasks. You'll submit for grading. Now, if you don't have time to finish it while you started this chapter 1 training or the assessment, if you're in that, you would save and save for later and come back to this and continue where you left off, right? I'm going to go ahead and submit it. Yes, I didn't finish everything. And yeah, where's my grade? Yeah, it looks like I failed it. Well, failed it. I opened this up in a separate tab, not in the pop-up window, so it may have a problem with that. Okay, after you finish, let me go back here. After you finish the trainings and assessments for chapter 1 through chapter 4, remember the trainings have learning aids, the assessments don't. Then you do the Word hands-on lab test. Now, what that is where you download a document onto your computer, your Windows computer, and an instruction sheet, and you do the edits and submit for grading. So I'd open that up in a tab already right here. And remember, where was it? It was right here, Word Lab Test. So I opened it up right here. I would download the documents, which I've already done. I would do the edits, right? Work on the assignment, and I'd upload for grading. All right, so this is the document that you're going to download, just so you can see it. This is what it looks like. You can assume you're going to do bullets here and probably do columns somewhere in here too, and you're going to organize this into a table. I have a video where I walk through, that's in here on Canvas. I walk through how to do some of this for you. In fact, let me back up and show you. That is hands-on word test video. That's my video. This is how to do a grader project. And this is the video I did walking through these steps. So again, this is the document. These are the steps that you're going to complete, right? You're going to rename it right away. You're going to add a cover page. My video walks through about 60% of this for you. So be sure to do that and complete that task. Now, again, coming back here, that is right here, the videos. Then we have, where am I? I think I'm in the wrong place here. Hold on, let me double. I have a dozen tabs open. Hold on. So this is the training and assessment. So I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to go right in here. I'm now in my T-Lab, trainings and assessments, hands-on lab. The quizzes, notice they're directed to Canvas. So I've got past the direction sheet. Now I'm looking at the chapters that you're going to read in your Tech in Action book. And these are just the learning objectives for the chapters. In a moment, I'm going to open up the book so you can see it. But these are just things for chapter 2 you're going to do. Learn about types of computers and their features. Basically how computers works with bits and bytes, the main functions of computers, right? There's 4, and we'll learn about that. Describe the functions of the motherboard. You're going to learn about the components of the computer in chapter 2. Then in chapter 6, you'll describe the central processing unit or CPU. You'll learn what that does. That's the brains of the computer. Yeah, and then this is kind of a deeper dive. Chapter 2 introduces you to the computer and components. Chapter 6 walks through some of the tech inside the box, like the RAM, random access memory, video cards, sound cards. Then we're going to jump to chapter 4. I've taken this a little out of order of the author, but 2 and 6 go together, as do chapters 4 and 5. So in chapter 4, we learned about application and system software, the difference between them, how you install the software, the licensing, how that works. And then in chapter 5, we discussed the functions and what does the operating system do. Now, in this class, we're learning about Windows 10, but it's very similar to Windows 11 or Mac OS. What does the operating system do? What are some of the functions it does? It helps manage hardware and memory and storage and all the peripheral devices that are connected to the computer. It's got to get permission from the operating system to run. That wasn't the same in the old days, but now it is. The operating system controls what loads in the memory and when it gets uninstalled. You'll learn about the Windows interface and so forth. And I'll stop there. That is chapter 5. So now I'm in the book. Your tech, I'm jumping around. It's more orderly in Canvas than I'm jumping through tabs here, which you probably can see, because Zoom doesn't like pop-up windows. So I'm trying to do it this way. I'm in chapter 2, right? And looking at computers and understanding the parts, right? And we also then jump to, let me back out of here. Let me collapse this. Let me collapse this. Then we went to chapter 6. We're understanding um, and assessing hardware, right? We talked about that a little bit. Then we went to chapter 4, which is application software. And then let me collapse it. Then we went to chapter 5, which is system software. They kind of go together, right? You need to know about the components of a computer for chapter 2 and a little bit about what's under the hood, all the pieces and parts of the computer. And application software and system software kind of go together. So you'll learn about that in week 2. So if I were to go look at chapter 2, this is kind of a broad overview of computers, right? History of computers. I think there's a question in your quiz, but what's the difference in data and information? Data is the facts and figures and ideas, all right? All right. Numbers, words, pictures, sound, facts and figures, raw input users have at the start of a job. Information, though, is different. It's organized. So if you click on this, data has been organized. So you'll get an example and ask, in one of the questions, is this data or information? We'll talk about that. Computers do processing, manipulating, organizing data into information, which is really key, right? What else for chapter 2? Binary language. Let me skip that for now. So this just talks about how computers based on, base 2, zeros and ones, things are on or off. And this is the example of a faucet being on or off. Let me see, integrated circuits or components in the computer. There are test questions about the size of information. A kilobyte is KB, right? Let's see what it says. A unit of storage equal to approximately 1,000 bytes. So a kilo is 1,000, right? So megabytes must be 1,000 bytes. Let's see what it says. A unit of measurement equal to approximately 1 million bytes, or 1 million, 1,000 kilobytes. So that's how that works. So a gigabyte is bigger than a megabyte by 1,000. And that's kind of how the numbers go. And I think there's a chart here to show you. Oh, this is good. Digital convergence. That's a test question. The use of a single unifying device to handle media, internet, entertainment, and telephony needs. Well, that would be your cell phone, right? And there is a cell phone. So there's some good stuff in this chapter too. It's kind of the base um, kind of outline of understanding of computers to give you some familiarity with it. Windows and Mac OS, Chrome, different operating systems, different types of computers, desktop computers, that thing, all-in-one computers would be like this one here, where the computer components are in the screen shell housing itself, mainframe supercomputers, embedded computers. I think there's a test question about what's bigger, a mainframe or a supercomputer. Well, it would be a supercomputer, obviously. So, and this is going through all the items that are in chapter 2. So I think that pretty much covers it. If I were to go back into your Canvas site, we talked about Word, chapters 1 through 4, training assessments. I didn't do the tour of the hands-on test. I need you to watch that. And this is the video of me completing the hands-on test. And this is the hands-on test, which I've showed you the beginning document and the instruction sheet. Um, these are narrated PowerPoints for chapters 2, 4, 5, and 6. These are chapter study guides. And again, what are chapter study guides? They are your test questions. And the quizzes are right here, chapters 2, 4, 5, and 6. I think that's it. That's week 2 in a nutshell. Hopefully, I didn't overwhelm you with this. Let's go back to my T-Lab, and you see it's organized very similarly, where you have the chapters 1 through 4 in Word, training and assessment, the lab test, and just a reminder, the quizzes are in Canvas. So, with that, let me stop sharing the screen. And if you have questions, send me an email. I want to hear from you. All right, bye for now.